Radio, Apple, Blueberry, Blackberry, any way you want to get us, you're apt to find us. Tomorrow's guest, Marita Noon, author of Energy Freedom, director of Energy Makes America Great. Going to talk about her latest commentary, The Geopolitics of Oil Go Round and Round. Ron Hubert, president of the National Association of Rural Landowners. He is also the recipient of the Freedom Foundation Valley Forge George Washington Medal Honor Medal, for journalism. And we're going to talk about his latest, Government Doesn't Give You Freedom. You Take It. Right now, let's go to Dan Cadman, Senior Fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies. Dan is a retired INS official with over 30 years of government experience. Mr. Cadman served as a senior supervisor and manager at headquarters, as well as field offices, both domestically and abroad. His knowledge and experience encompasses, among other things, criminal aliens, employer sanctions, and national security and terrorism matters. Dan, welcome back to the show. It's been too long.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, boy, you got some interesting ones here. We're going to talk about the get-out-of-jail cards. We're also going to talk about all of these immigration bills that are being moved forward by the House Judiciary. This latest ICE chief, and what was the one the Police Foreign Legion. Very interesting. And before we get to all of that, Dan, I want to get your opinion on a story that I just got today. They say to facilitate the often treacherous process of entering the United States illegally through our southern border, the Obama administration has just announced free transportation from 3 Central American countries and a special refugee parole program with resettlement assistance, permanent residency. Says they're no longer going to be known as the UAC, unaccompanied alien children. They said that was offensive and politically not politically correct. Wow. Anyway, the new arrivals will officially be known as Central American Minors, CAM, C-A-M, joint venture between the Department of Homeland Security and the State Department. And I'll skip down to the bottom here. They're going to get the special refugee parole, which includes many taxpayer-funded perks and benefits, among them free education, food stamps, medical care, and living expenses. When I read this on my newscast today, Dan, I said, the first paragraph, to take care of those entering the United States illegally, the Obama administration is going to give them free transportation. Is this not another direct slap in the face of our immigration laws?
Absolutely, it is. It's the government laundering human beings through the system in a way that superficially makes them appear legal, but in point of fact is nothing of the sort. What they're talking about here is trying to find a way to hide the fact that even since that wave of people that were coming into the Rio Grande Valley in Texas last summer, they're still coming in, more than 2,000 a month. And because they haven't managed to stem the tide, despite all of the years of promises that we've heard that the border is more secure than ever, they're now lock, stock, and barrel at the cost of many millions of dollars, sending federal immigration officers to these Central American countries to do some magic hocus-pocus, bless them, and bring them in simply so that they don't appear to be crossing the border illegally. But here's what it comes down to. Most of these individuals will not be entitled under the law as it stands now to refugee status. They can't claim that they're being in any way persecuted, and so the Obama administration is going to misuse its parole power to parole them into the United States at government expense, and fundamentally speaking, act as the smuggler. They're cutting out the middleman.
Boy, any other president, I swear, they would be talking about impeachment, breaking all the rules that are passed. Look at everything that we passed back in the '86 amnesty. This is unbelievable how this guy's out of control. And maybe it's gotten to a point now it's more unbelievable about how we're letting him get away with it.
It is unbelievable to me. I'm astounded by it. And, a federal court in Texas has stopped the administration from issuing its permits to the nearly 5 million illegal aliens in the United States that they wanted to handle. And so what have they done? They've moved abroad because they know that doing that, or at least they think that doing that, is outside the jurisdiction of the court. I personally believe that's not true, because the day that those individuals set foot in the country on a parole, then really this is just another evidence of the administration's illegal use of executive action. And I wish that the states would go back into court and ask the judge to shut that CAM program down, because when all said and done, those aliens, when they come in, will become the burden of the states and the local communities. They're going to be the ones to have to educate them, to have to take care of their health and benefits needs, and it's going to cost a fortune.
Phyllis Schlafly wrote an article a couple weeks ago and says one of the most outlying things, what it all stands for, is, believe it or not, that they're going to lock in all of these people, are 90% plus, as Democratic voters. And you even have some Democratic, I've heard, I think 2 elected officials talking about, you will remember who gave you this amnesty and who's giving you all these free benefits when you go to the polls. I don't know if that's the main objective of this president, or if he wants this to be a third world nation, or wants it to be socialism. There's all kinds of theories that you hear about, but it is out of control more than ever.
It sure seems that way to me. And I was interested that recently there's a fellow named David Martin, who was the Deputy General Counsel in the Department of Homeland Security in this administration when Janet Napolitano was the secretary. Even David Martin has written an article saying that he doesn't believe that at this point what the president and his other cabinet officers are doing is either constitutional or legitimate. So even their own people are looking askance at this, saying, wait a minute, something is very wrong here.
And if Congress is saying, well, this guy, we're getting rid of him in 2017, and we'll take care of things, boy, there's a lot that can happen between then and now, or now and then. I got it backwards, yes, all right.
You know what? The cow won't be out of the barn. The whole herd will be gone.
Absolutely. Hey, let's get to some of your excellent articles here. One of them, believe it or not, listener, Monopoly. Boy, you play Monopoly, and of course you want to get, the hotels and any kind of property you can get, but perhaps one of the most important things you want to get when you're playing Monopoly is a get-out-of-jail-free card. That's very important. And it seems that now you say they've picked this wording, get-out-of-jail-free, with our immigration system now. Get-out-of-jail card. Who's using this?
There's a fellow, Representative Gutierrez, who represents a congressional district in Chicago. He is an open borders advocate, and he and some of his fellow Democrats have started issuing these pieces of paper to illegal aliens who, if the court that I mentioned earlier had not issued a restraining order, who would have been the beneficiaries of Obama's executive action. And they're giving these pieces of paper, these quasi-permits to these aliens, so that if the alien is stopped by an immigration officer, they're supposed to present it to that officer and say, wait a minute, I am the intended beneficiary of a program that the administration wants to enact, and as soon as the court proceedings are over, I'll be a beneficiary, and therefore you shouldn't arrest me. It's the equivalent of a get-out-of-jail card.
Wow. That's a little bit more difficult than what they had before. When you were approached by the Border Patrol, all you had to do was say, I'm a dreamer. That was pretty easy. And they were doing that too. Yeah, Gutierrez, he went on this nationwide tour. He was down in the L.A. area, I think it was a week or so ago, and one of the organizations out here that Robin Vitston, guest on this show, participated, watched his, I'm really watching my words, his activities, his presentation. Anyway, we the people were there, and I guess it was no questions. No, can't take anybody. And this guy, he may be the biggest advocate for illegal aliens right now in America, in my opinion.
He's very close to it. He definitely is not an individual who believes in borders and sovereignty. I don't think so. And that's an irony, given that he only has his position based on the fact that the Constitution provides for proportional representation under the laws of the United States.
Well, this get-out-of-jail card, piece of paper, kind of goes against another piece of paper that you mentioned in this article, and that's the Constitution.
I wonder sometimes if our legislators read the Constitution or have just reached the point where they're picky-choosy about it and think that they get to, I'll accept this article because it meets my philosophical criteria, but that article over there, it doesn't serve my interest, so I think I'll just ignore it. But, the thing that open borders advocates need to think very carefully about is that if they set this precedent now, someone else will come along at some point later whose views are diametrically opposed to theirs, and they will have set the stage for that person to say, I don't have to obey the laws either because you're the guys who opened that door.
Right. If your little piece of paper is more important than my little piece of paper, the Constitution, and you say kind of a reminder that a bloody revolution, horrendous civil war have been among the many heavy cost of the forefathers of our nation that paid to sustain it, we will now see if it withers away under the subordination of a few political leaders intent on bending the future to their particular visions, and damn the consequences. Wow. It's, to me, I'll tell you, Dan, every day, every single day, and especially on the immigration situation, the gentleman that founded this program, George Putnam, he was the one that coined the phrase way, way back when about the invasion of America. And, hoo-ha, we all gotta be, caring human beings. Let them in. Well, how many can you let in? And droughts and mass population. Oh, it goes on and on. We're going to continue in just a moment. Dan Cadman, Senior Fellow, Center for Immigration Studies, and you know that website, CIS.org. That's CIS.org. Going to talk about some of the House Judiciary Committee moves and the immigration bills that they're moving forward when we return.
Come to Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California for our sizzling party savings. Book your wedding event or reception, your birthday bash, or a special event of any kind and celebrate at Angelo's and Vinci's. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's and celebrate in one of our many festive banquet rooms. It's an incredible fun event you'll never forget. Food, music, and lots of fun. Call for the details, and don't forget our daily lunch and dinners, plus our Sunday champagne brunch. Just $14.95. Minestrone soup, sausage and peppers, pastas, chicken dishes, salads, scones, and muffins. plus so much more. A chocolate fondue fountain, Zeppelis, cannolis, fresh fruit, champagne, and Junior will be waiting to make the omelet of your choice from our omelet bar. Angelo's and Vinci's has been voted on the Orange County Hot List as one of the top 5 Italian restaurants for the past 6 years. And don't forget our award-winning pizzas. Thin or thick, they're yummy. It's all at Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Call 714-879-4022. 714-879-4022.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-471-5173, 800-471-5173.
You make the decision to buy the home, then you're faced with what's next. What do we do?
We started at Realtor.com.
Realtor.com gave us a lot more current information.
Listings are pulled directly from the MLS every 15 minutes.
Once you've gone through all of that, the Realtor makes it happen.
We worked with the Realtor that really knew the area.
And he knew the market.
When you have someone who has the expertise, it makes it so much easier.
Realtor.com and Realtors. Together, we make home happen. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
The Doug Stephan Good Day program, early morning radio, and I guess it is radio, although it's radio on TV because this is CRN Digital Talk. You can find out what's going on in the world. We talk about the issues of the day, the events of the day, the people that people are talking about. We have an interesting way of looking at the news and having a little fun with the issues. So if you want to have some fun, learn a few things, and get up on the right side of the world, Doug Stephan's Good Day program, weekday mornings, 2 to 7 a.m. on CRN Digital Talk.
Everybody's talking at me.
My guest, Dan Cadman, Senior Fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies, retired INS ICE official. And I guess this story, Dan, it's almost like, well, you want to hear the good news first or you want to hear the bad news first? You say the new Congress House Judiciary Committee, through its Subcommittee on Immigration and Border Security, has been setting speed records in approving immigration measures and moving them to the full House for consideration. Boy, that sounds great, doesn't it? And I say, boy, something's got to be done. Something's got to be done. Well, and you got a list here. What is it? 3 of them here. March 3rd, March 4th, March 18th. Let's talk about those, and then we'll kind of get to the bad news of this whole thing. What could be?
Well, the good news is, as I say, that the Judiciary Committee has been working in earnest on some immigration bills, and they're great bills. And unlike the foolish and fortunately ill-fated Gang of 8 bill, these are targeted bills. They're not the kind of bill that is the size of a telephone directory with ugliness and bad news hidden in the text where you can't find it. These are pretty much what you see is what you get. And the 3 subjects that they cover, one is the Legal Workforce Act, and it revamps the laws that cover the hiring of lawful workers and the prohibition of hiring illegal aliens. And it does it in a very common sense way, and it mandates the use of technology and systems to make it less of a burden on employers, whether they're large or small employers, and it even provides ways that individuals can access the system and have themselves verified so that when they approach an employer for a job, they can show that they've already been vetted. So there's a lot of common sense about that measure that really deserves a good close look. It takes the government away from the paper-based system that they're using now, and very importantly, it also allows employers to vet an individual before they hire them, so that if the individual proves not to have the right to work, they don't have to go through the whole process of hiring the guy and then 3 or 4 days later firing him when they find out he's illegally in the country, which is the case in the law now.
Does it include any penalties for companies that hire illegals?
It does. It ups the civil penalties for companies that do it. It multiplies them exponentially, and quite frankly, I think that's appropriate given that the penalties written last into the law were written in 1986 and at this point are now so low as to be negligible. So that's one bill. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Also, I want to tell the listener real quick that if you go to CIS.org and Dan Cadman, C-A-D-M-A-N, whenever you read this article about the immigration bills moving forward, he has a link where you can check out each one of these bills. About a minute and a half before the next break, the March 4th committee approved one, and this is called Protection of Children Act. All right, let's talk about this one.
That one changes the way the government will be handling unaccompanied minors. It tightens it up. It tries to make it harder for the government to do the kind of shuffle that they did with the wave of unaccompanied minors when they came in last summer. It tightens up the rules for declaring a juvenile a special immigrant, which paves the way for illegal alien children to get green cards. And it, frankly, protects those children better, while at the same time eliminating discrepancies in the way some of the children are treated based on whether they come from a contiguous or non-contiguous country, meaning whether they're Mexican or Central American, basically.
Yeah. Now, and just before the break, I'm going to throw this in. So at the beginning, I'm talking about this brand new thing that Obama is now offering, the free transportation, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and it's called Central American Minors, CAM. And I'm wondering, did he do this in retaliation for the Protection of Children Act? Is some way to get around it? And we can't talk about it just yet because the break is here. But see, and I'm also saying, my goodness, here we're moving this stuff into the committee and into the Senate, and all he does, I have spoken. I am King Obama, and so it shall be. Boy, he's got the easy way. We got to go through the process. We're going to continue in just a moment, and I'll let Dan see if I'm way off track on this one. Dan Cadman, Senior Fellow, Center for Immigration Studies, and we are discussing his latest articles and his blog. And we'll continue in just a moment. It's CIS.org.
Geico presents Fan Mail to a Pig.
Dear Maxwell, I just want to say thank you for making my Geico Insurance ID card digital. It's easy to find on the app. It doesn't give me paper cuts, and I always have it on hand because it's on my phone. Because of this, I finally cleaned out my glove box, which was filled with years of paper ID cards. Any thought on what I should put in my glove box now? Sincerely, Trent Patterson. Trent, what can you put in the glove box? Here's a crazy thought. How about gloves?
Digital insurance ID cards, just a tap away on the Geico app.
For over 20 years, you've trusted Lumber Liquidators to make high-quality, beautiful flooring affordable for everyone. Delivering this value means you get the floor you want at the low price you deserve. So we've lowered prices even more. This week, get stunning espresso, Hevea, 3/4-inch solid, pre-finished hardwood for just $2.99. Or natural strand bamboo for 41% less than our competitors. And 18-month special financing. You trust our value, we value your trust. For quality hardwood, see the flooring experts. Visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield. Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-351-8614. That's 800-351-8614. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-351-8614.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com. 310-873-4422.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Everybody's talking at me.
CRN, Chuck Wilder here with my guest, Dan Cadman. 30 years of government experience, actually over 30 years, retired INS, ICE official, now a senior fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies. And believe it or not, Dan, I think right there during that break I might have answered my own question when I was asking you if Obama just waved his wand and is going to get rid of this March 4th. I think the big word there is unaccompanied when I look at it further.
You had it nailed first time around. This is a way to circumvent not only the existing laws but prospective laws such as the Protection of Children Act. The whole purpose of what he's doing is to take it outside the United States and theoretically, at least in his view, outside the purview of Congress. Of course, where the rubber meets the road is domestically when those children get here, and so I don't think that theory works, but that's the theory that he's operating under, and I don't think they care if it passes close muster as long as they get away with it.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. All right, so the third one here, most recently, March 18th, the committee approved the Michael Davis Jr. in honor of State and Local Law Enforcement Act and sent to the House for the consideration. So this is called the Enforcement Act?
It is. What it does is it restores some balance and credibility to the notion of interior enforcement where immigration is concerned. And one of the most important things that act does is authorize state and local peace officers, law enforcement officers, to enforce the immigration laws and to do it in exactly the same way as federal officers with exactly the same immunities that those federal officers have so that they can't be taken into court and sued by pro bono groups and non-governmental organizations that represent illegal aliens. And it even goes further, and it allows states to not necessarily to enact their own legislation, but to actually enforce all of the federal code where immigration is concerned, both criminal and civil. They can conduct their own investigations, et cetera, with all of the authority that a federal government or a federal officer could. It's a great bill.
And it's got a great sponsor, too, Representative Trey Gowdy.
I tell you what, I wish I lived in that man's congressional district. He's amazing. He's great.
Yeah. You know, I always talk about how difficult it is to get elected as president. You got to have a charisma. You know, that seems like that's more than credentials, you know, is the other C word, charisma. And that Abraham Lincoln, you know, with that little black spot on his face, could have never get elected these days. And Trey Gowdy, you know, I'd have to get another haircut, but boy, he could sure, and maybe some little bit higher shoes. I'm not sure, but man, he's like a little pit bull, isn't he?
He is just smart as a whip. Nothing gets past him. I hold him in the highest admiration. I really do.
When you watch this guy in action, and a listener, if you've never seen Trey Gowdy talking before the Congress critters, wow, it is something else. And once again, there's a link there where you can check out, I think it's, excellent video you say here, Representative Trey Gowdy, Republican, South Carolina. Now, as I said, you know, you've got the good news and the bad news. So here we go here. And the overall thing is that once it reaches the desk of King Obama, there's the major problem.
It's not even clear to me that it would go through the Senate because, much to my deep regret, even though the Senate has changed hands and is now controlled by a Republican majority, there are some people among the Republicans whose views are nearly indistinguishable from those of open borders Democrats. Mm-hmm. But if it did, there's little doubt in anybody's mind that the president would veto those bills, and it's very doubtful that the Senate could muster the number of votes needed to overcome that veto.
And the ones you're talking about on the Republican side that could hold that up, those are you refer to them as the big business agriculture wing, so to speak.
There are a lot of people who are in the Republican Party who believe that opening the borders, both legally and illegally, is the thing to do. I think they're under the misapprehension where the illegals are concerned that somehow that if they go the same path as the Democrats, that those illegals in the future will vote for Republicans, which is highly unlikely. But then the others who are big business oriented seem inclined to up the number of people who are being permitted to come in from places like India and China and take any number of jobs away from American engineers who right now are struggling to find employment. And there are any number of other categories where it seems to me that the Republicans, those Republicans who think this way are somehow fooling themselves about the condition that many Americans still find themselves in economically, which is struggling.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I look at California, and where I'm based in California, and I remember the first time I ever visited California, from the West Texas, southeastern New Mexico area, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, even the smell, all the agriculture, and all the green, and it's hard to find Republicans in California now, especially in any kind of government situation. So, I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't either, and California's not alone there.
No? All right, listen, I want to make sure, and I'm watching my clock here, and I think we're going to do it. This Police Foreign Legion, a lot of people have been asking about that, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have time to get it in. But there is a new ICE chief, right? And Sarah, let us talk about Sarah. Boy, this was I guess I was in the dark on this one until I read your article. Yeah,
Miss Saldana there. She's the latest in a string of ICE leaders who really do not have the interests of the agency or of law enforcement at heart. And, she's shown that several times already.
Let me ask you real quick. Is she the sixth under this administration? The sixth?
She is. If you count both the permanent and the acting chiefs of ICE, by my count, 6 people have held that job in, what are we in now, the 6th or 7th year of the Obama administration, whatever it is. That's roughly one per year, one per every 14 months or something?
Sure would have been nice if they'd done that with the Department of Justice. Yeah, okay. So here she is. You say she has a curious pedigree.
It's a puzzle to me that at one point when she had been nominated for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Texas, she was being supported, for instance, by Senator Cornyn, and she was being opposed by the local Democratic caucus. When she was nominated for ICE, I understand that Senator Ted Cruz backed her, and yet, we already see that she's pretty much in the pocket of this administration, meaning President Obama and DHS Secretary Jay Johnson. That was painfully evident at her most recent congressional hearing when she was asked if she would support a law changing the way immigration detainers are filed to require local police to honor them. She said, yes, amen. And within 24 hours, she was forced to issue a retraction. I'm sure she got taken to the woodshed by the administration and told that's not our position.
Yeah, that's on the final page for the listener, but talking about how she, yes, thank you, amen, yes. And you say it was a moment of refreshing and spontaneous candor. Unfortunately, it was also accompanied by one of the most immediate and discreditable walkbacks in recent Washington history. You know, and I can almost, even though you didn't have it the way I'm going to read it here, I'll just read part of it, but I could almost picture her saying, yesterday, during my testimony, before the House of Representatives Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, I was asked, and I just want to make it clear. But no, I guess she had it written out or tattooed on her or something, and she did very good. Didn't go off the script at all. So,
it had to have been deeply embarrassing for her to have to walk it back. I don't know. I don't know at that level whether I wouldn't have done it myself. I'd have said it's just not worth it.
So you say she's already got 3 strikes against her. So it may be, Dan, that there may not be 6 in 6 years. There may be 7 in 6 years the way this lady's going.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. So we'll see where we head with this one.
So strike 1 was temporarily restraining TRO, executive branch with executive action. Strike 2, that was making the right to release versus custody decisions. Okay, and let's see, the TSA, that comes in here also, something that she got involved in there.
Yeah, when there has been such a furor about the release of criminal aliens, 36,000 last year, 36,000 2 years ago, 30,000 last year, and they tried to hide it as long as they could, and when they couldn't hide it anymore and it became obvious, their solution was, we're going to give intensive training to the agents. This is clearly an agent problem. Well, it's not an agent problem. The problem is that the agents know what they're supposed to do, and they get overruled by their bosses and supervisors who have been intimidated by their bosses in Washington. So saying that the problem is one of training for the field agents is absolutely absurd.
All right, so we'll see what happens with this lady. Yeah, if you see that name, Sarah Saldana, Saldana, if you see that in a headline or something, just figure She's probably leaving. That's what I would guess. Okay. Now, interesting story, because you know how sometimes websites may get carried away and you're seeing the headlines, you're saying, my goodness. And I remember when I first saw it, and I had some pretty good reliable sources that were, sending out emails saying, wow, they're going to give, illegal aliens, they're going to make them into police officers, even though they're not citizens. No, that can't be happening. Well, you've got an article called The Police Foreign Legion. Let's talk about that. Is it going to happen?
There are a number of places that are already hiring people who are not citizens. In most of those locations, they've said you at least have to be a resident alien. But in one or two of them, they haven't even said that anymore. So what that means is you could have one of these so-called dreamers that the president had his minions issue permits to, 3-year permits, and some of whom...
And also, I guess the get-out-of-jail card would work on this. Go ahead.
So you've got those people who, in these few jurisdictions, could apply to be a police officer and present something that the administration has given to them, even though they have no permanent residence and no citizenship in the United States, and you could find them walking around in a police uniform with a badge and a gun. It's incredible. I cannot imagine what these police forces are thinking of.
Yeah, and I see in your, very first paragraph, Chicago pops up. That's kind of scary. And especially with their strict gun laws. Boy, that's sure working for them. But how does this tie in with the Posse Comitatus Act? I know that supposedly, boy, I used to know that almost verbatim, but you're not allowed to use... How does that work? I'll let you explain.
Yeah, well, some people in defending this change of rules, saying that aliens should be permitted to be police officers, have said, well, aliens can join the military. Well, that's true in a very limited sense, but the key distinction is that military officers, anybody, the military cannot act in police capacity inside the United States because of the Posse Comitatus Act. The military basically operates abroad. So if some of the military happen to be aliens, it doesn't matter as much if they are in a foreign country. But it doesn't make any sense that aliens should be allowed to be police officers in the United States. So making the comparison between aliens in the Army and aliens in the police force is bogus.
You remember 5-6 months ago when the president was really on this big campaign wanting the illegals that were here, sign up for the military, sign up for the military, sign up for the military. Meanwhile, he's saying, we got to shrink the military, get rid of all these captains and admirals and chief petty officers. But, hey, we want the illegal aliens, and you're soon to be citizens, sign up. We're going to have to take a break here, Dan, and then we're going to come back in a very short time on the other side of the break. But in your article, listen to this, that Dan says, courtesy of the Obama administration's Executive Action DACA program, think of this, giving them lawful presence and work permits. Now, isn't that ironic? Liberal thinkers actually expanding the number of people entitled to own and carry guns. Makes you wonder if they were reading the fine print when they come up with some of this stuff. Dan Cadman, Center for Immigration Studies, retired INS ICE official, the website cis.org, and we're going to be right back.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-351-8614. That's 800-351-8614. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-351-8614.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com. 310-873-4422.
Popular demand, the showroom at South Point presents Tony Orlando live in concert, hit after hit, April 3rd to the 5th. Tickets at the box office, online at southpointcasino.com or charge by phone 702-797-8055. Tony Orlando at the South Point.
Hello, buddy. Paul's from Michael Horn here to tell you a bit about what's coming up on the next What's Cooking Show.
We're going to go cruising. Alma Waterways and the VP of Sales, Gary Murphy, will be here to talk about river cruising, wines, and much more. Then Janet Taylor McCracken, the culinary expert and the test kitchen director for Everyday with Rachel Ray, will step up our suppers. Gary Cantor will be here from Cantor's Deli. And coming up Friday morning, John Huertas Esposito from Castle will be here on the show talking about his new restaurant, Clutch, in Venice Beach, California. And John Jordan will be here from Jordan Winery.
Everybody's talking at me.
My guest, Dan Cadman, and we are discussing his article, The Police Foreign Legion. Boy, and I think probably one of the most important things that you point out in this article, Dan, is whenever you start getting involved with these people that are carrying the credentials and getting around sensitive classified information and or airports, things like that.
Yeah, you know, if an individual is a police officer but also happens not to be a citizen and not even a resident alien, who is that person? You know, how appropriately can they possibly vet someone who hasn't been in the country long enough to really know much about him? And the answer is they can't. And it seems to me pretty clear that those individuals would not have access to, well, I know as a fact they would not have access to federal government information of any sensitive nature because federal government law is clear that has to be a citizen, but will they be allowed behind the sterile lines of an airport? Should they be? Should they be allowed access to your water treatment plants, to your electrical grid? Doesn't sound right to me.
And, you know, when you mention, well, you know, there's these laws. There's these laws. They can't, boy, at one time, that held a lot of meaning, you know. Well, that's not going to happen. It's against the law. But in the last 6 years, it's out the window.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Wow. I'll tell you. Well, you have some great articles here, and if people want to find your blog, basically they just go to the website, right? And how do they go about it? And I know that at the bottom of each one of your articles, you'll find it'll say Cadman Blog or Dan Cadman Blog. Anyway, it's right there in plain sight. Yes. Lots of good stories over there at CIS, and I was looking at the big one that they're doing right now is all these ICE gang arrests. And talking, that ties in with this thing of having a badge. It's amazing that, just over the past weekend, they had these phony police barriers that were put up in Chicago, and people were stopping, almost like a DUI check or whatever, and it was gangs. And they say that's exactly what they do in Mexico. So could you imagine now you're going to have, that guy's not a police officer, he's not going to stop me. It could turn out very, very bad. Maybe he is a police officer. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. And, and if the guy is shaky, or, when he stops you, is it going to be a shakedown, just like it might be in the third world, where he's expecting you to shell out money so as you don't, get a ticket or whatever the case may be? It's just bad business.
You got to have that get out of jail card. There you go. Pops up everywhere. Hey, Dan, I appreciate it, and we'll have to do this more often.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on today.
Thank you, sir. Dan Cadman, Senior Fellow, Center for Immigration Studies, CIS.org. Tomorrow, Marita Noon, author of Energy Freedom, talks about her latest commentary. The geopolitics of oil go round and round. And the bus stops here. Yeah. Ron Ewert, president of the National Association of Rural Landowners, author of, Returning America to a Constitutional Republic, and so many others. We're going to look at his latest. Oh, what a latest it is. Government doesn't give you freedom, you take it. Hey, thank you very much, Paul Stern, and thank you for listening, and remember, you have to be here tomorrow unless you have a get-out-of-chuck free pass. Thank you.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio show sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound?
Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 6 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all of your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before in CRN HD. The difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Tom Hartman, Barry Farber, and so many more. Entertainment and lifestyle programming like The Robert Conrad Show, The What's Cooking Show, and The What's Cooking on Wine Show, all in true CRN HD audio. Sports, business, travel, food, wine, politics, there is something for everyone, and it's all available in CRN High Definition Sound. Log on to www.CRN Talk for listings and information on all your favorite shows. That's www.crntalk.com.
The radio channel